this changes everything. If you just want a regular old hybrid SUV, we'd tell you to get the Tucson. The Toyota just isn't as good. But if you want some all-electric range on top of your hybrid, the Toyota is much better. So what makes this thing the better PHEV?
We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us.
This is the plug-in hybrid version of the Hyundai Tucson. Now, what you pay for either of these depends on dealers in your area, and we have the tools on our site to help you get the best deal and tell you what you should pay. Links for both of them will be down in the description, or you can hit the QR codes. This here example starts at around $42,000, but the one we're using today is almost $50,000. Now, the regular hybrid Tucson is an outstanding award-winning SUV. It cleared the field when me and my buddy Brian put it up against every other small crossover. But the plug-in hybrid version, we have to talk about some things. This interior is not the problem, even if there are a couple of things that we would change. This touch panel for most of the climate controls is a bit of a bummer. It's not very well laid out and it's kind of hard to use while you're driving. We'd always prefer physical controls for that stuff. Thankfully, you do have knobs for your temperature control and you do get physical buttons on your steering wheel. Beyond that, material choice is pretty good in here, especially for a car in this class. Hyundai has done a really good job of mixing it up so there's not too many hard, scratchy plastics. There is some piano black in here that we know gets scratched up and collects dust and fingerprints and doesn't age very well. But beyond that, this is a very well executed, very neatly designed place to be. For example, this fabric trim on the dash, it's a nice touch. Tech is a strong point here. The screens are crisp and quick to respond as you would expect of a modern vehicle. Also, the onboard nav works well if you don't want to use the standard wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Also, I have to call this out. There is an elevated wireless charging pad in here that makes sure that my camera bump doesn't interfere with the contact patch to make sure that it's always charging up. And it's rubberized so your phone won't go wiggling around. And there are 3 little lights here to tell you when it's working. That's neat. The seats up front are comfortable and supportive, and there will be more than enough room for most people up here. But if you are a taller driver, you might find that the seating position means that you'll smack your knees into the steering column or this funny twisty shifter thing, or that you'll run out of headroom. Storage inside is pretty good. You get this cool shelf in front of the passenger, the cup holders are out of the way, and you get a huge bin in the center console, and there's a couple of places to put your phones as well. One thing about both of these cars, they both suffer from small and difficult to use door bins, so you might want to keep that in mind. Big, wide door openings. It's something you might not notice at the dealership, but it's something you're definitely going to appreciate every time you load one of these into the back. There is a ton of room back here, some of the most in any compact SUV. If you have taller backseat riders, they're going to be thankful that you have a Tucson. Also, it's going to make loading even the bulkiest of child seats no problem whatsoever. There are also a lot of amenities in the back of the Tucson. You get your 2 air vents, your 2 USB-Cs, you get some cup holders in the center armrest and some smaller ones in the door bins. And also the seats recline a ton. But there are a couple of things that the Tucson Limited gets that the RAV4 that we have does not, and that is the huge full-length panoramic glass roof.
Ah, lovely. I love the sun.
And heated seats in the back. That's nice. Like any SUV of this size, putting 3 adults across in the back seat is going to feel a little snug, especially on a longer journey, but overall this is a very good back seat. The cargo area of the Tucson plug-in is less generous than the standard hybrid because you lose the false floor because of all the stuff going on underneath here. Leaves you with about 32 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats up and 66 when you fold them down. But something I really like is you can actually fold the rear bench down from back here with this pull. It's a nice touch. Yep, it's definitely got some electric torque. So the Tucson plug-in hybrid, it gets off the line with electric power alone, but then if you really lay into it to merge or pass, it backs it up with the gas engine. It hesitates just a little bit, but eventually you get all of the power from the 2 powertrains combined. If you are gentle with the throttle pedal, you can get up to highway speeds on EV power alone. Speaking of, the Tucson plug-in hybrid has a battery that's about 10 times the size of the battery that's in the regular Tucson hybrid. We got 41 miles of electric-only range in our testing, which is way above the EPA estimate, but wait until you hear what the RAV4 did. If you're charging on a standard household outlet, you can top up the battery in about 11 hours, which is fine if you plan on charging overnight. But if you have a charger installed on a 240 volt outlet, something like you would use for laundry, you can do 0 to full in just 2 hours, and that's a lot nicer. Would it surprise you to hear that the rest of the driving experience is a lot like the regular Tucson hybrid? Because it doesn't surprise me. When you really lay into the throttle pedal, the gas engine kicks on and a bunch of noise comes into the cabin. It doesn't sound very nice or all that refined, and you can definitely feel some engine rattle as you drive along. The steering is fine. It doesn't feel like I have any great sense of connection to the front, but this isn't a driver's car and it's more than good enough for daily driver duty. It's the right speed, it's the right weight, no problem there. I do have a slightly bigger issue with the brake pedal, however. The brake pedal itself does feel a little artificial in that you don't get any great sense of connection to the brakes themselves. Yes, it was easy to come to a panic stop in our braking test and you can come to a smooth stop, but I would have liked something that feels a little more connected and less artificial. The ride is another strong point in the Tucson. It handles the larger imperfections really nicely, and it never feels too soft or too floaty. It's a really good balance. Driver assists are good here too. The plug-in hybrid versions of the Tucson get adaptive cruise control with lane centering as standard, and then this top spec limited model that I am in get a super clear 360-degree view camera. You get the blind spot view monitor in the instrument cluster when you flip on your turn signal, which we love, and you also get remote park assist. It's a really comprehensive suite of stuff and it all works really well. One thing I will say is you're going to want to fiddle with the drive modes in the Tucson because there are a bunch of them. There's Eco, there's My Mode, there's a Snow Mode, and then there's Sport. If you really need to get up and go, you're going to want to click it into Sport Mode because it gives you the most juice from both of the gas engine and the e-motor at the same time. And that is easily where this car feels the quickest. So if you have to merge onto a highway in a rush, you're going to want to flip it into sport mode. There's also a bunch of other things you can mess with in the screen. It's a little too much going on. This little toggle right here is all you really need to play with. And then we have the RAV4 plug-in. Starts at around $43,000. This well-equipped Woodland model is around $48,000. When it comes to the regular hybrids, the Tucson's nice interior, spacious cabin, and smooth driving give it the edge, but when it comes to the plug-ins, the story is a little bit different. Yeah, this is still some of the best interior storage in the business. The RAV4 has seemingly infinite pockets for smaller items, and that's really important in a practical, everyday car like this one. I also like that both front passengers get a spot for their phone right here, and I like this little shelf that's in front of the passenger. It's a nice touch. This Woodland model also gets some unique interior touches. You get this sort of reddish-orange accenting across the seats, the center console, and the steering wheel. It's a nice touch. The outdoorsy theme really comes through, especially because of the all-weather floor mats. Woodland and XSE models get these 2 USB-C ports up front to keep you always charged up. And there are a lot of hard plastics in here which come off as durable, but we can see them getting pretty easily scratched up too. Tech is a big step up from the last RAV4. Nowadays, this is one of the better screens you can get in this class of car. Higher end models get an even bigger screen, but we think this is all you really need. It's more than big enough, it's crisp, it's clear, and it's very quick to respond. The menus are laid out in such a way that you're never more than 2 or 3 taps away from what you're trying to get to. One thing for me personally is I would say this looks a little tacked on to the dashboard here. I would say that the Tucson's is a little bit more sleekly integrated overall. Toyota does throw a lot of the primary controls for this car in the screen, including the ones for the climate. It has these buttons, which they're worse than knobs would be, but at least you get some physical controls on the steering wheel, these nice clicky buttons, as opposed to like something on the Mazda CX-5, which was terribly frustrating. You also get some pretty solid voice commands, and even base models get this really neat customizable digital instrument cluster. It's very cool, very crispy, and you can see things like maps in it and all kinds of other important information. It also has an integrated dash cam, which is a pretty rare feature among cars of this type. When it comes to wireless charging, you're gonna have to pick your poison. In the RAV4, you can have up to 2 on higher spec models. This one only has 1. In the Hyundai, you can only have 1, but it's got this grippy surface and your phone won't slide around as much. So it's really up to you. The seats are comfortable, but not necessarily super supportive. One of our editors reported a lot of backache after a 7-hour driving day. Also, it's a little bit cramped up here. You'll notice I don't have as much headroom, so if you're on the taller side, you might want to look out for that. Another thing, the doors in the RAV4 do not open as wide as they do in the Tucson or in some competitors, so it might be a touch of a squeeze to get inside. The combination of less legroom and doors that don't open quite as wide makes the back of the RAV4 feel significantly smaller than the Hyundai. That said, you can still fit adults behind adults, but rear-facing child seats might be more of a challenge. In terms of amenities back here, you get 2 USB-C ports, 2 air vents, cup holders in this center armrest, some pretty small door bins in the back, and the seats recline a little bit. The RAV4 plug-in has around 33 cubic feet of cargo space with the seats up and around 63 with the seats folded down. The battery for the hybrid does eat into the cargo storage, but less in the Toyota than it does in the Hyundai. You also get a household outlet, some lighting, and because this is the Woodland model, a slightly tougher cover for the floor of the cargo area. Also, you get some extra goodies because it is the plug-in hybrid. This is an adapter for the Tesla supercharger network, so you can plug this in the supercharger if you want to. The only thing with folding down the rear seats is you have to do it from inside. You cannot do it from the cargo area. Another something nice that I wanted to point out back here is that despite the fact that Toyota had to package the battery for the hybrid and all the other stuff, they've managed to throw in a space saver spare. It's not a full size, but it's still nice to have. Look at that. Even at full throttle, we're still in EV mode. The gas engine doesn't kick in, so you can get all the way to highway speeds even if you mash it, whereas in the Tucson, you have to sort of baby it. Simply put, if the Hyundai is 80% gas, 20% electric, the RAV4 is a lot more like 60-40. This one has 3 electric motors compared to the Tucson's 1, and it has way more battery capacity too. So when it's fully charged, it drives in EV mode even if you floor it, and in our plug-in hybrid city speed range test, it went a crazy 62 miles on a single charge before defaulting to hybrid mode. That is way more than anything else in this class of car. Because of the larger battery, it does take a little bit longer to charge the RAV4, whether you're on a standard household outlet or a 240 volt, about 12 hours or 3 hours respectively. But if you get the Woodland or the XSE model, you also get access to level 3 DC public fast charging, in which case the RAV4 will go from 10 to 80% in just 35 minutes. That makes it a lot easier to top up in the RAV4, say while you're doing the shopping run or if you're at a quick lunch stop, and that makes this thing easier to take on road trips. Plus, when the battery runs out, this thing is around 15% more efficient in hybrid mode than the Tucson is. As for the rest of the driving experience, the driver aids are great. Lane centering is confident, and adaptive cruise control either brakes or accelerates very naturally, and it'll even change lanes for you. The RAV4 is also really easy to see out of thanks to thin pillars and a lot of big windows. The ride is good. It's maybe not as nice as the Tucson. I'd say the Hyundai ride's about 10% better, but it's still plush enough, and also the rest of the experience is very smooth and easy to live with. Another point in the RAV4's favor is I think the brakes and the steering are a bit more natural and they feel more connected to the car, so you're going to have a more intuitive time driving the Toyota. The one thing that the Hyundai has that this does not though is that blind spot camera that shows up in the instrument cluster. We would have liked to have seen something like that in the RAV4 given it is an all-new car. Before we get into value and our verdict, if you think there's anything we missed, you have any questions, or there are videos you would like us to make in the future, leave a comment down below. I promise you, we check all of them. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, a like and a subscribe goes a really long way. When you are looking at plug-in hybrids, the Tucson starts at around 42,000 bucks and goes all the way up to 50 grand. That's about $6,500 more than the equivalent standard hybrid version, but it's still about 1 to 2 grand less than equivalent RAV4 plug-in hybrids. We really think you're getting more bang for your buck in terms of features and interior quality in the Hyundai. It's worth noting that you're probably going to spend more on gas and electricity if you buy the Hyundai because it's less efficient than the Toyota. That is actually hard to put a number to because it really depends on how much you drive and how much you charge. And if you charge up at home, the Hyundai should have enough range to cover your daily commute. But because the RAV4 is more efficient and the quicker you burn through electricity, the more gas you end up using, the Hyundai will just cost you more. The Hyundai really feels like it's worth the cash. It's a quality product, but the Toyota offers a lot more capability for a modest price premium. We also like that there is a wider breadth of trims when it comes to the Toyota. You can get some outdoorsy one like this guy, you can get the athletic GR Sport or an SE and an XSE to match up with the Hyundai. You're going to be spending more money to get the same features as in the Hyundai, and on lower trims, the interior of the Toyota doesn't really feel as nice as we'd like, but that's not where your money's going for this particular SUV. The larger battery capacity and the subsequently better range, the superior efficiency, and the ability to DC fast charge is really why you're paying the premium for the Toyota. Hyundai's warranties are typically better on most of their cars, but with these two, you get 8 years and 100,000 miles of coverage for the hybrid system and 10 years or 100,000 miles of coverage on the battery packs. The general warranties on the Toyota are a bit shorter, but some of the most important bits get equivalent coverage. It's worth noting that for most buyers, a regular hybrid or a full EV will make more sense. Plug-in hybrids really only work if you can charge them up every single night and take advantage of that all-electric range, or you only have one car and you need it to do both regular city driving and the road trip at the same time. If you take a look at our ratings, you'll notice we enjoy driving and being in the Hyundai a little bit more than we do the Toyota. The Toyota just doesn't feel as nice inside and it's nowhere near as spacious. That said, the plug-in hybrid has a lot more cargo space and its incredible results in our testing when it comes to MPG and efficiency really put it over the top here.
With an excellent score, the Tucson was first among small plug-in hybrid SUVs, but that just changed with the new RAV4.
All of our rankings, including ratings and reviews of every competitor, are always available at our site and we update them all of the time. You still get the great interior tech and tons of space inside, but the second place range and the sort of lack of efficiency bring the score down a notch.
The RAV4 just ekes out a victory over the Tucson, making it the clear winner and reigning champion of small plug-in hybrid crossovers.
Everything we like about the regular RAV4 is still here in the plug-in, but with the added benefit of exceptional electric range. The fact that its competition had to give up cargo space and still can't go quite as far helps this thing seal the win.